the vital role that campaigns and elections play in the battle of ideas. We'll explore that and more on today's edition of Life Matters. Brian Johnston has served in many capacities while advocating for innocent lives, as the Western Director of the National Right to Life Committee, as California Commissioner on Aging, as Chairman of the California Pro-Life Council, on the board of the National Legal Center for the Medically Dependent and Disabled. And now here's our host, Brian Johnston.
Welcome back to Life Matters. We're your program on the right to life and the actual meaning of the word, the ideas that underscore what the right to life is. As you know, our founders included that as an essential premise of the God-given gifts that we are endowed with. The government doesn't give it to you. It is a right endowed by your Creator. We need to understand what that means because individuals and the value of individual lives is the predicate for all of America's idea. America is an idea, principles in action. Very often we forget that. And really, if you listen to the news a lot, and a lot of the bad news, you tend to forget why we're facing problems. I would like you to make sure to listen all the way to the end today, because I want to let you know you're the problem. What? Yes, you're the problem. One of the principles of politics and policy, and those are ideas that are put into effect. Literally, laws are merely ideas that are enforced. And the real problem is that people with good ideas, people with moral values, people who really care about what matters in life, they don't care to get involved in civics. They're intimidated by civics and they think there's nothing you can do. It's critically important. We're at a turning point in this nation's history, if you haven't noticed. The fact that we have unlimited abortion and a political party, that would be the Democrat Party, that has embraced unlimited government-sponsored abortion and even post-birth abortion, says something about the character of the laws that we're facing, and that's just the most egregious example. If you want to change things, whether it be the schools raising your kids and telling your little boy that no, he's really a girl, and not informing you of the doctrine that they're putting into these heads, you think this is something you should be not involved in? Today we're going to talk about what you can do, and I must tell you, unless you do it, don't expect someone else far away to do it. One of the problems with our culture and the media is we tend to watch. Oh, the presidential race is going to do this. Here's two different candidates. Which do you want? And we tend to think that we live in a top-down culture, what is really a form of Marxism, a dictatorship. Well, if you respect the government, then the government's going to do it and take care of you. If you respect the government, then Joe Stalin will take care of you. He was known as Uncle Joe by those who embraced it. But if you realize you don't live in an autocracy, the republic you've been given is very, very precious and can easily be taken from you, and in fact is being taken from you right now. Benjamin Franklin warned and let his warning go to you. When he left the Constitutional Convention, he was asked by a woman passerby, well, what have you given us? And he said, ma'am, we have given you a republic if you can keep it. We're now at a moment in time, and please listen to the end, where you do have the ability to keep the republic. You do have the ability to change the world where you are, if you are willing. So I've got a great interview with an old friend, Scott Peotter. He is a longtime activist in the civic realm, a Christian. He is very, very pro-life. I've known him for years, and he's paid the price for his civic involvement, which means you learn new things. And if you aren't willing to learn new things, I'm sorry, you're done. If you aren't willing to change your attitude, let's say, about civics, you're done. You've become encrusted with your personal worldview, and you're unwilling, even if God wants you to expand it, and he often does. He's had to do that to me, to understand more to get more out of who you are so that you could fulfill your calling. God has called you to be involved in life right now. So we're going to hear from Scott Peotter. We're going to talk about California politics, but everything we're talking about today are principles of responsibility where you are in whatever state in the nation. And some of you who do listen overseas, I have many friends from Ireland who have told me they listen on shortwave and podcast and in other countries. If you live in a democratic republic, please understand the purpose of a republic. It allows representative forms of government, not just at the top, but at your city council, at your local, what is called, even in the villages in Ireland, they're called corporations. And you can sit on the corporation's board. You can sit on the local school board, and you can make decisions for your community. And if people are making the wrong decisions, don't just complain. Make sure that you're willing to do something about it. Otherwise, very bad things result. So we're going to show you how to do that today. And please listen to the end because I think you're going to be quite blessed.
If you have questions or comments for Life Matters, call 800-924-2490. Give us your name and the town you're calling from and a quick question or comment. Life Matters continues after this.
Hi, I'm Kevin Sorbo, and I was very excited when I heard about LifeFest Film Festival. LifeFest is the film festival dedicated to showcasing films that affirm the intrinsic worth of innocent human life and the profound significance of each life. I know one of your prizes is the Capra Award, awarded to that production that best reflects Frank Capra's thematic ideal. One seemingly insignificant person can in fact change the whole world in which he or she lives. That one singular life ends up being of vital importance. I'm so glad to hear that you are cherishing that in this film festival and are committed to artfully and creatively protect the lives of those who can't possibly promote themselves. They are dependent on the love and goodwill of people like you to speak on their behalf. Well done.
Find out about the exciting cultural change impacting Hollywood. Go to lifefilmfest.com. And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
Well, welcome back. I gave you all the background on Scott Peotter. I've known Scott for many years, and Scott has been actively involved in changing the world through civics and pro-life politics, which a lot of people need to study in order to understand. And as Christians know, you must study to show yourself approved. You have to apply knowledge. So Scott has a lot of that knowledge, and he is actually an assembly candidate now in California. The principles we're going to talk about don't just apply to California. So if you're not a Californian, we're still going to talk about very important issues that apply to you. So Scott, once again, thanks for being on and thanks for all that you do. Tell us a little bit. I think it's a good plan. You're running for assembly, but you know you need people to know about you and get excited by getting excited about politics. And there are races beneath that assembly jurisdiction that will bring out good people. So tell us what that is and how do you do it?
Sure. We know that the assembly in California, there's 80 members, but it depends on your state as far as how many people are going to be represented. So our particular district includes 3 cities, in this case, Irvine, Tustin, Costa Mesa in California. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on getting school board, water board, city council races, and try to recruit candidates in some cases, maybe take candidates that have already declared, that are similar in thinking as far as government as I am, and we're going to work together. It does a couple of things. One is it develops people that can run for assembly at a future date because they've been a councilman. I was a councilman in Newport Beach. It gives them experience in government, and it develops, in effect, your farm team when you do want to get somebody to move up and run for assembly. And you have this synergy working together. So I'll be in these 3 cities. There's going to be, in our case, 4 council people in Costa Mesa, 5 in Irvine, and 3 in Tustin, all at the same time on the same ballot. And a lot of states don't have your local elections and your state elections on the same ballot. So it's going to depend on what you're doing. Even if they're not on the same ballot, you may not be working together as you're trying to both get elected, but you can still work together because you're working in the future. So I've got, just with city council, I'm going to end up with 12 candidates that if I find all 12 that are of like mind, we can work together. I can promote them in my literature. They can promote me in theirs. When we walk precincts, we can hand out flyers that have all of our names on it. Now, you probably get specific. In my case, I'd have a separate flyer for Irvine, a separate one for Tustin, a separate one for Costa Mesa. And school board would be the same thing. If there's, in our case in Irvine, there's 3 more school board members. So again, all of a sudden, instead of just one person all by them, they're lonesome, I've got 7, 8 people that we're promoting all at the same time. Some city councils are on districts, some are citywide. So it all depends on that jurisdiction and what you're doing. So being involved with local politics is the beginning that those guys end up the ones that step up for state government. So if your complaint is state government's doing this wrong or doing that wrong, part of it is because we didn't elect good people, and part of it may be because we didn't have good people to elect because they hadn't been a city councilman or a volunteer planning commissioner or a school board member. So just trying to pull them all together, work together, it doesn't happen. I'm kind of unique in this situation that I actually want to campaign together. Most people, when they campaign, they focus on their campaign and that's it. I don't care. If supporting one guy, part of the reason is that, say, let's say John Smith is really liked by a lot of people, but he's also really hated by a lot of people, and I'm promoting John Smith, then those people that don't like John Smith may sit there and say, well, I'm not voting for Scott because he's supporting this guy, John Smith, and I hate him. The amount of people that you're going to lose on something like that, I think, is rather small compared to those that you're going to pick up because, hey, if, all those people that like John Smith are going, well, if he thinks Scott's a good guy, then I don't know anything else about Scott except I know John, so I'm going to vote for Scott too. And that's kind of the concept.
Well, that is excellent. And I want to make a point now, if listeners are tuning into the importance of local politics. I want to remind you that our educational system in America, and even if you went to a private school, the attitude towards government is, to be honest, a simplistic attitude. Government is in control, and therefore there's nothing you can do other than vote. But please understand, that's not the system we've been given in a republic. Many of us think the governor rules the state, for example. If you think the governor is in charge, and all progressive thinking, by the way, leads to autocracy, leads to obeying the government. That's autocratic thinking, and that's the premise. That's what Stalin was. That's what Hitler was, both international Marxism, which is communism, and national socialism. They're both socialistic, top-down views of government. You have the opposite form of government. And if you've been lulled by the media into thinking, well, there's nothing I can do, you've got it exactly wrong. In July of 23, the Temecula School Board was asked to put in policies to teach LGBTQ plus and to be open to Planned Parenthood establishing abortion referral centers in their district. They were told that this is how California law requires them to do it. They were told that the governor wants this. It's a 5-member school board in Temecula. However, 3 of them were conservative and pro-life and wanted traditional family values reinforced. And they said, we're not going to do it in our school board because we are a jurisdiction in a republic, and we are elected to administer this jurisdiction. We answer for the assets of this jurisdiction, and we're not going to use them inappropriately. The governor attacked and sued them. No, you have to do what you have to do what Gavin Newsom says in this state. They said, no, we don't. We live in a republic. So the form of government you've been given, Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, requires every state, so your state, wherever you are, local jurisdictions, those elected representatives must answer for those actions. So 3 of the 5 said no. Think about this. If any one of them would have been, as they say, if he would have wussed out, oh, we better do this, the governor's making us, If any one of those three said, I'm not going to follow my convictions or my responsibilities, I'm just going to give it to the higher government, I surrender. If any one of those three, then the governor would have just come in and forced that school board to do the will of higher government. But we live in a republic. Please, you've been given the gift of freedom and delegated authority. One person made that difference because that's what made the majority on that school board. One person in Temecula, California, who decided to stand up for their convictions. So we want to teach you that you can stand up right where you are. And throughout history, that's the only way that autocratic government have been overthrown, is that local people said, you know, we've had enough. We don't have to do what you say. The emperor has no clothes. Unless you're willing to stand on what's right, it won't change. So, Scott, I want to change this slightly. You and I spoke recently about your challenge in finding people. And here in California right now, because we're going to keep this as the ongoing principle, but right now in California, we're in May, but filing for fall of 24, a very important election in November. Filing for local office is open until July. Now, you and I discussed this. A lot of bureaucracy doesn't want local people involved. They make it hard to find out, how can I make a difference? And you know how to do that. You've guided people in how to get involved in a local city council, school board, as you mentioned, even water district. This is diffusing authority, which is the principle of America. And unless American citizens get involved in the system, we can't take it back. But we have great opportunity. What can people do now? It's in May. We have until July. How do they find out in their local county, in their local jurisdiction? What do they need to do?
Sure, it's a really good question. First of all, I encourage everybody to get involved. Even if they end up not being a candidate and not running, there are going to be candidates out there that you're going to like and believe in. You need to help them in their campaign. They need the help. They need the volunteers to knock on doors. They need money to be able to print literature. They need help. I think oftentimes you're going to sit there and see, hey, maybe I should be running, or maybe this will prepare you for the next go around to run. And it depends on which area you have interests. Like we mentioned, city council, school boards, water boards. Pick an area that you're interested in and get involved in that area. And most states are the same way as California. The different lower government bodies are basically, they're responsible for re-electing or electing their own representatives. So that, in my case, the city of Irvine is in charge of the city Irvine council members, right? And the water board, the local water agency, they're responsible. So the clerk of the board, the clerk of the city, the clerk of the school board, they're the voting officials for each of those districts. And so you have to go to each of those districts to find out what it takes to get elected. So most of the time, school boards, any of these bodies, they have a website, and go to the county website where the registrar is. You have to go to the local, in this case, school district, let's say. You go to their site, you find out, hey, my board's got 5 members. You get elected by district. These 2, or in my case, 3, are up for election this cycle. And these are the 3 candidates. These are the 3 districts within the school district where you have to live in order to run for those 3. So you can decide, hey, maybe my guy, I don't live in the right area this time, but 2 years from now, I do, because the next guys will be up for election 2 years from now. And so go help one of the other guys get elected, stay involved in the school board in the meantime, and then go up and register and run and commit yourself for 2 years from now. The same thing with city councils, same thing with school boards. Each agency's got their own entity. Usually you can find it on the website, though.
Excellent. So going to the local website in your community for that local jurisdiction. So it isn't just the county. If you go to the county registrar, which I've tried to direct people to and I've gone to, they don't always list the fact that the El Dorado School Board actually is controlled by the El Dorado School District. You have to go to the district website to find out when that election is.
Exactly.
So this is going to take just a little effort on your part. You have to be an involved citizen. There's an old saying, there's 3 types of people. People who make things happen, people who watch things happen. And I'll be honest, most Americans, I think, are in that second category or in the third category. People who say, what happened? And that's what happens in politics. The media is going to tell you it's all about the presidency. That's all that matters. And you're going to decide who you're going to pick for president. That's great. But that's one vote in literally millions of votes. You will make a small difference, but where you're going to make an exponential splash is in the smallest district you live in. Because when you and your friends and family say, oh, we're going to vote for Scott Peotter, that has exponentially more impact, your vote, than it does on the national level. It's just a matter of mathematics. So this is how republics work. This is how your system works. And if you're a Christian and you haven't understood this, you've been failing in preserving the freedoms you've been given. We need to preserve. You need to be a preservative. You need to be salt. You need to have an impact where you are. This is how to do it. This is how you do it. And if it's not you, it may be a friend of yours who's willing to do it. You'll also, and in other programs, we've talked about Robert's Rules of Order. So, and I know Scott has learned these principles because he had to. You have to learn that when you are in a deliberative body and how to make your point and how to win a vote. Very, very important. The other thing, we've had separate programs on this, and that is the principles of natural law, the laws of nature and nature's God, because that's what the founders expressed. They did not say, you got to follow my theology. They did not approach it. My theology is what's at stake. No, every one of our founders had very strong theology, but they understood that the God they talked about was the God that made everything. And so they would show through the laws of nature, nature's God. We have separate programs on that so that you can understand how to be involved with people who don't share your faith, but they do share your society. And you will be very effective. You will be a salt. You will be an impacting factor in your local community if you're willing to be. Scott, any other last thoughts?
I will say our founding fathers considered those people that did this kind of thing as public servants. I think in modern vernacular, that's been taken away. You know, people make it a career. They make a good living out of it. I guess if you're a Democrat, they do anyway. And a lot of people look at it, see, I could never do that, or I don't want to go through the microscope and have all my life examined. I would say that my service as both a planning commissioner and a city councilman in the past, it's definitely public service. I do it because I want to serve the community. I didn't get rich on it. In fact, you know, a lot of ways it takes away from in my case, personal business. So I didn't spend as much time on my business and didn't make as much money otherwise. And you have to look at it. It's a ministry. This is my area of ministry in giving back to the community. And that's, if you have that kind of an attitude, then if you lose the job, who cares? You're just moving on to the next thing. Your life doesn't revolve around it. So I'd encourage you to jump in, learn. If you come in with the right foundation, you can learn the details. You can do these jobs. They're not that difficult.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thank you so much. I want to remind folks, particularly down in the Orange County region, Scott Peotter for Assembly. Scott at taxfighter.com. You can find out more there. Scott, thank you so much for standing up for what's right in this very difficult time.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. Good luck.
Thank you. And to you.
Life Matters continues after this.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, CEO of MyPillow. I support this show, and I would like to offer you our biggest discounts for listening. So please go to our website, mypillow.com, and put in the promo code at the end of this message to get the biggest discounts. Again, thanks for listening, and God bless.
And that promo code is LIFE. All caps, L-I-F-E, LIFE. So go to MyPillow, put in the promo code LIFE, and you'll get some wonderful discounts because Mike Lindell believes in you and in Life Matters.
And now back to more Life Matters with Brian Johnston.
And that promo code is LIFE, L-I-F-E, LIFE. You know, it's pretty flattering when someone contacts you. Mike Lindell has made the life issue his number one issue. Everybody knows about Mike, and most people know that the issue of life, protecting innocent life, is his number one issue, and he likes Life Matters. I want to tell you, yes, I have supported MyPillow. Mike has supported us, but I want to tell you more because it's not just the pillow and the sheets. We have those. I have the towels. They work. They're real cotton. It really is a benefit. It's a blessing to have real products that are made in America. But I want to tell you more because you may know about MyPillow, but do you know about My Store? Mike has so many products. If you go to mystore.com, you will see the many other products. Everything. Let me just give you a list of the categories. Automotive products. That's right. Everybody's got a car, and there's a lot of things you need for your car. Obviously, bath products, but beauty products, books and videos, clothing, decor, food and drink. And I'll take a moment now. I got Mike's coffee. I'm a coffee connoisseur myself, and I got his Drip brand coffee, but there's many different types of coffee. He's got other folks' coffee as well. If you have coffee pods, if you've got a Keurig and you need pods, you've got those. He's got other products, Split Rock coffee, Pillars of Patriot coffee, but I actually use Mike's coffee, and it's good. I just get the drip roast. I'm old-fashioned that way, and I use a cone filter. But that's just one of many food products that Mike offers at My Store. And if you use the promo code LIFE, L-I-F-E, it supports Life Matters. It helps keep us on the air. So he's doing a good thing for America. You know that. You can't go very far on television or radio and not hear about Mike Lindell. But there's other products, again, at My Store, at mystore.com. Kitchen and dining products, household essentials. There are, of course, patriotic products, religious products, toys and games, home improvement products. Go to mystore.com, use the promo code LIFE, L-I-F-E. And again, a special thanks to Mike Lindell. You know, Mike Lindell has really, like our founders, he's pledged his life, his fortune, and his sacred honor to uphold our Constitution. That's a very American thing to do. So I appreciate Mike Lindell, and he appreciates you. If you believe in the right to life, what we do at Life Matters, we want to equip you with a deeper and practical understanding of what the right to life is and what you can do about it. And Mike Lindell believes in that. So go to mystore.com, not just MyPillow, but at mystore.com, enter the promo code LIFE, L-I-F-E. That helps Life Matters, it helps America, it helps Mike Lindell, and it helps our nation move forward for life. Thanks for listening.
Learn more about everything in today's show online at lifematters.life. Life Matters is a production of the California Pro-Life Council.